Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you today? I just wanted to show you, I combined these two different companies together. I had such a great time. So I wanted to show you different particulars on this card here. I'm using some Tombow watercolor markers, so I thought I'd share my process. So first I'm stamping this cactus. I kind of want it in the front of the girl doing yoga. And I've got some masking paper on there, and then I stamped a plant that's from Three Room Studio. Now I'm stamping the girl, and then I stamped some packages and masked two more cacti and the chandeliers from 3 Room Studio. So I just wanted to create this kind of all jumbled. Right now I'm touching up just some areas that missed in the stamping, but I wanted to create like a kind of a chaotic scene in the background, someone who's moving, there's so much going on, and the point is just to take time for yourself, and that's what this coloring challenge is all about. So I colored the one on the left, and I'm like, let me see if I can do something similar and film it just to share. Now my head was totally poking in the way on this, so I cut it out, but I used a small antique ruler on the right to draw some diamonds in the background, and now I'm using a pastel Tombow marker, and I'm just adding that marker to every other row of this blue, and then I use some water to soften that line, so you'll see that it's easier to see with the yellow. So I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm just coloring a little portion of these triangles, and then I'm going to use a damp brush and just bring that color down. So I just want like a soft pastel-y kind of background. It's so fun to create your own backgrounds. And it's really pretty simple. So there's certain parts of the video I'm going to speed up and then I'll slow down. So now I have a damp brush, and notice I kind of start in the white area and get that wet first, and then I bring the color down. And then again, sometimes I start on the line. It just depends. It doesn't matter where. The biggest thing, which I always say, is you just don't want your brush too wet. Now I'm going to speed this up because I'm doing the exact same thing on all these diamonds. And I used some weathered wood distress ink on this plank floor, and I wanted to bring a little of that turquoise in, so I thought I'd show you. I just drew a stripe, a line, and then I'm just softening that line into the gray just to bring a little of that color in, and it makes it a little bit more interesting. I used my ruler to do that wide plank floor there. Now I'm using some distress ink. I just want to put down a layer of color on the boxes. Super, super easy. Now, while I'm doing this, very basic watercoloring here, I just want to explain that the yoga girl and the cactus are from Stamping Bella. And then 3 Room Studio, Sandy Boone, she's a design team member for Stamping Bella. So I knew Stamping Bella wouldn't care if I used her stamps. So her stamps are so incredibly different. She's a small little company, Sandy from 3 Room Studio, and she just has such a fun twist on stamps. So she has I love furniture and room stuff, and that's kind of what a lot of her stamps are. So she has like the moving boxes and the lamp, and then she has like a cubicle set with the chandelier and the desk chair. So it's so fun to use different elements from all those different sets and combine them with other stamps that you have. So that's what I did for both of my cards today. You know, it takes a little bit longer, but it's fun. I really enjoy it. Sometimes you have to think a little bit now what you're masking, what goes where first. So I'm being kind of lazy here, and this isn't the ideal color for her skin. I mean, of course, you know, oh, my phone's ringing. Hold on a sec. Okay, so the phone's done ringing, but the biggest reason why it's not the ideal color is because it's the same color as the boxes. But I'm just being kind of lazy, and I had some red from a previous card, and I just used that on the cheeks. So she kind of matches the boxes, but who cares, right? If there's enough detail, people aren't going to notice. So now I'm using that same soft color on, I drew these stripes, and again, my head was in the way. I don't know, did you see that? Gosh. So anyway, I love adding patterns or stamping little images on wide open things like the chair. So now that I drew those lines, I'm just going to use a damp brush and just pull that color down and soften it. So, you know, there's a lighter and a darker area. Super easy. I really enjoyed using Tombow markers just as much as I do Zig markers. So it's kind of use whatever you have. Now I'm just throwing down some color on the cactus. Do you say cacti or cactus? So that's what I'm doing, and I'm just color plucking. I just grabbed colors. This is kind of a minty color for a cactus. So I'll just throw in some other color later. And I'm just putting a layer on this plant here. I'm kind of identifying where the leaves go. The plant that I just colored was in Sandy's stamp set. And now I'm just kind of using a khaki color on the cactus here. Now when you use Tombow, you can pick up color from the tip, or you can scribble it on a palette and pick up color that way. I just love to put it on the paper and then bring the color down. You can kind of mix on your watercolor paper like I'm doing here. Your brush needs to be a little bit wetter, but see how easy that was? These are very forgiving markers. And the biggest thing though, like I always say, is you just don't want it too wet. So if you feel like it's getting wet, dab some water off, let it dry, heat set it, and then come back and add more color. Now I'm working on this minty cactus. I want to bring in a little bit stronger color, a little bit more interest. So I'm just kind of messing around with this like army bright green. And now I'm bringing in some really dark green. I'm just grabbing these colors and just kind of making them work. So, but I just can't impress upon you enough that if it's not too wet, you can just keep on adding this color like I'm doing. And when you add another color, it just brings in more interest. So I'm kind of just doing it, and you'll see, like always on the right side. I don't worry about where the light's coming from. That's my mantra. I always say that. So I just want to bring in a brighter green on this cactus. I'm just throwing that in on the left side and just pulling that color down. Now I have some lavender on this cactus, just trying that. And I mentioned you could pick color up off of the tip with your brush. Now I want to finish that chair. I kind of wanted to make it neutral. So it just kind of was an accent in the background. And then once everything's dry, I'll just add little lines and dots and stuff like that. And I wanted to make sure I get to that. So it's a little bit longer than normal video. So I'm just doing what you've seen me doing all along, just putting that first layer of color on the rug there. And now I want to color some stripes on the planters and the lamp. The lamp is from 3 Room Studio. She has another really cool lamp too. She also has a forklift stamp set where you can lift these big containers, round containers, and there's like kisses and hugs that you could stick in the containers, like 3-dimensional letters. And there's Copic markers and some really fun things. And I could also put these boxes for someone who's moving on that forklift and stuff. So it's just so fun. Okay, so now I'm just bringing in a deeper color on that lamp. just working that color, just kind of playing around, having some fun. It's so easy to add these stripes. Just trying to keep like that whiter, softer area. And again, you just want a damp brush. That's what makes watercoloring the easiest, especially when you're using a marker. And then when these are done, I'm going to add some lines, which is the most fun for me. So I decided to add some triangles on these pots. Super easy. I'm not worrying about any shading or anything. I'm just kind of blending the color. Okay, what else? Now I decided I wanted to make her clothes neutral. That's what I did in my other card. I just figured that's just easier, and then she'll kind of pop away from everything else that's going on in this card panel. There's a lot going on with the plants and the boxes and the lamp and la 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 la. So just a basic coloring on her shirt. Just my brush is a little bit wetter. I'm just pulling that color down. I like how it's like a nice charcoal gray, and then I'm going to do her pants in a blue, like a cobalt blue. Now I know some people like to, if you're new to watercoloring and you have a heavy hand with water, you could heat set between each color, or you could emboss your image, but I always feel like that's like more work. So I don't like to do that. Now everything's dry, and I'm just going around everything with my Sharpie marker just so it'll pop. I also do some circles around the edges of the rug and some red lines. And now I'm just adding different lines. I mean, you can see what I'm doing. But this is my favorite part, just putzing around, adding little dashes and dots and lines and fringe and little eyelash lines. And then I'll be adding some little eyelash lines to the rug for fringe. I drew the like little half moons around, and I just want them to pop more, so I'm putting some white dots in those little half circles, adding some white accents, just kind of going for it. You can see there's some on my finger. I like to start it on my finger, then I can see that the white gel pen is flowing. I know that it's working. And then, like I always say, you want to go slow and let it flow. Now I have that super fine tip marker. This is another fine tip marker. It's a 0.03 that I picked up somewhere. So I used that to add the fringe around the rug. And now I'm just want to give her a white medallion. Later I'm going to put an initial on there. Just adding some more lines. Super easy, really relaxing. And now I like to stamp on the bumpy sides. You have to be a little bit more careful, but I feel like the colors just pull better. They blend better for me. I just like the textured side so much better. So just a few little more lines here and there, and then I'm done. So thank you for watching. I'll link the supplies in the description. Thanks to Stamping Bella for letting me get creative and mix these two companies together. And thank you guys again for watching. Can't believe it's like day 25 of the 30-day coloring challenge. Oh my gosh. Alrighty. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye.